Hello everybody, Eddie Hates Riz here. So whenever I see anyone with hello Riz, I just get pissed, angry. I start throwing shit, I break things, I break down, I cry, then I reflect. Then I decide to watch some anime to wind down. Then I watch Kunon the Sorcerer Can See. Then I see how much Riz Kunon possesses. And I just get pissed, angry, I start throwing shit, I start breaking things. Yeah, Kunon the Sorcerer Can See. Let's yap about it. Kunon the Sorcerer Can See is a winter 2026 anime provided to us from the studio Platinum Vision. You hear those crickets? Yeah, I haven't heard them either, but that's okay. They were established in 2016, so that makes sense, and everyone's got to start somewhere, so I'm not trying to, joke on it too much. It seems like their claim to fame so far is the anime for Sounds of Life, but they don't have a huge discography. And none of this is super important to my thoughts on Kunon, the series as a whole. I just thought it was kind of interesting. Whenever I see a studio that I don't recognize by name, it's fun to do research, go down rabbit holes, whilst I do the research for the main review that, we're here for today. And that does low-key make me think one day I should do a video about anime studios. I'm not sure exactly what that'd be, but I'm writing that down. Anime studios vid. I will brainstorm later. There's a lot of things you could do with that. Like favorite anime from each studio would be easy. The worst anime from each studio. Most surprised. Like this could be a content farm and some fun dialogue. It's always funny talking about content like that. It's like I don't do things for the content as much as I do like that would be good dialogue. And I think good dialogue is good content. But if it was the flip side, it'd be like that'd be good content views wise. That's how a lot of other people think. To be fair, I probably should think that way, but whatever. Regardless, the studio talk could be fun. Why I say it makes sense with them being a new studio and whatnot is because when you watch Kunon the Sorcerer, the animation is nothing special. In fact, it is kind of just straight up bad at some points, but I don't really care. I'm just getting this out the way so I can get into more of the positives of the series. But I don't go into anime for eye candy. If you've watched any of my reviews, you know this. If the story is good, if I like the story, I can deal with almost any visual quality unless it's like, I don't know, because Berserk 2016 I couldn't get through. So maybe that's where I draw the line, but that's also a special case because it's just a butchering of a peak fucking story. But I will say, I did like the story for this anime. It is a story based on a light novel written by Umikaze Minamino with art by Laruha. Beautiful sounding name, by the way. It also does have a manga adaptation. Now, obviously, this video is about its animated venture, but I know some of y'all like to LARP as source material readers for light novel series. Ooh, I know so much about this series compared to you anime fan because I read the manga. Doesn't apply here! You want to act like you're an OG, but you need pictures when you read. And it's funny? Light novels do have a lot of pictures as well. But you know what I mean. I'm obviously joking. I don't really care. I just prefer books in its normal nature, which light novels are closer to. Although manga is awesome. I'm just joking about, sometimes you talk to the people that are the manga readers, right? And for some reason, I've noticed that a lot of anime fans are averse to reading, not only in light novels, but manga. But then you take it a step farther, they finally read manga, like a little bite of the Krabby Patty. But then they refuse to go any farther and read a light novel, and then fucking God forbid you try and get them to read a visual novel. And this doesn't happen too often to where this is actually a problem. I'm just kind of bringing it up now because I don't think I've ever brought it up online before. But it's one thing when people have the manga high ground for a series that is originally a manga, because okay, yes, you've read the original source material, you're ahead of me, good job, you did it. I do that sometimes with my friends. I'm good, I already read the manga, bitch. Get on my face. But when you try and have the high ground of being a fan of something compared to an anime fan, when you've only read the manga, and both of those are adaptations anyways, just wait for the light novel guy to come in and humble y'all both, okay? So I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. I don't even know how we got to this topic, because I'm just yapping. This I've recorded none of my scripts so far. So with all this yapping out of the way, now that we're a little lubed up, warmed up, ready to take it in, let's talk about what Kunon the Sorcerer is even about. Because we're hella minutes into the video, and I haven't talked about it, but it is unique in nature. It follows a kid named Kunon, who can't see. But Eddie, the title says that he can see. Look, I know the title, just give me a second. So he's depressed and shit. He can't see the joys of life. But one day he discovers magic and what the possibilities of magic are and goes, I'm making myself some magic eyes one day. Does he do it? Watch the show and find out. And that's the premise for a decent chunk of the show. We'll talk about some more of it later. A lot of this show's uniqueness, as I mentioned, hinges on a couple of very specific things. Mostly being the main character, Kunon, of course, and how he interacts with others because he does fuel this series' vibe and tone. 99% of the time. He is the independent variable, as he mostly drives conversations and everything as opposed to any other way around. And he's just, I don't know. He low key. He's low key out of pocket. Okay, he's a massive flirter, a massive flirter, due to the inspiration from his maid. Do I even explain the maid? We'll talk about that in a bit as well, but. He becomes mischievous in the best way because this series, while not being marketed as a comedy, or at least I didn't think it was, I just thought it was like a normal fantasy series, it features it heavily with its playful dialogue in between or even during important moments. So I would say he's definitely the type of main character that elevates what's going on because he is entertaining in nature. Even if what's going on isn't always the most flashy, his conversational skills just make me like at the gall, you know? So it's always pretty entertaining there. Side note, I don't know if this is a critique or not, but I mentioned the eyesight thing. It's not that big of a burden on him, to be honest, in the series, like at all. So like, yeah, I'm happy for him, but the stakes are non-existent. He may as well just been any other Prodigy character. This just gives a good title in some other moments I guess you wouldn't normally have, but it doesn't really change all that much. All those motivations and stuff, I get it. I'm kind of over exaggerating. I do have another actual critique of Kunon's character though, and I'll get into that a bit more later because it involves the last arc of the season, and I'll just make that a spoiler section thing, as that conversation will be better for people who have seen the show. But the first season of Kunon the Sorcerer can be categorized into 3 sections. A. Kunon learning under his first teacher, who, looking back now, still stands out as a better character due to her self-awareness. You know, she started teaching elementary Kunon, I believe, realized how fast he's progressing, like, oh, this is a prodigy. She's fucking making up random shit every day, random games to, like, keep up with him because he's progressing past her. And once she realizes that, she does go out of her way to be, because this could have been an easy job, easy money and all this stuff, but she allows him to move on, even though he doesn't want to. Kunon learning under his second teacher, who was a legend of the game, kind of the cool type, and yeah, I vibe with his type of character, and I like seeing characters like that who are already so, you know, I'm above everybody, that find someone that they actually do think is worth their time teaching and taking them on. It's always nice seeing a legend teach someone. This is always a fun dynamic. In C, the third section of this story, is Kunon going to a particular school, expanding our character roster a bit and introducing other things. So for simplicity's sake, that's how I'll refer to it. The 3-act story structure. Wow, what a concept. Although I'm not really using it correctly in this case, but whatever. That was on purpose. And yeah, the first bit is neat. Second bit is super fun. Third part, as I said, is probably the most important for the future, because it is in this last part of the season where we not only meet classmates that are super interesting and a whole school body worth of potential, as well as new higher-ups and things, but this is where he's going to be for the foreseeable future. It just seems like things are ever so slightly, not escalating, but time is passing. Natural time passes, things are going to happen. Shit's potentially going to get wacky. Other characters I want to mention are his maid, who I don't even know if I like her or not. Sometimes I watch her scenes and I vibe with the jokes. Sometimes it's a bit strong for me. But as I said, she's the one that influences Kunon. She kind of eggs him on with the flirting. Kind of in a way of like, obviously she doesn't like the kid like that, but you know, she humors his jokes and stuff and kind of just, you know what type of vibe I'm talking about. She's weird as hell. Kunon's strange too, but he's a kid, so I'm more lenient towards him than that grown-ass woman. So like, no, I'm not saying she's like BBL Drizzy or something, but the influence is kind of crazy. And honestly, might be the most important character to Kunon, because without her, he would not act how he is, and he probably would not be where he is. So she's definitely part of the comic relief of this series for sure, and I'm sure many people will find it funny. Like I said, I found it funny most of the time. It's just sometimes I'm like, okay, I get the joke. And I know this might be too woke or whatever, but if it was a butler and a young girl dynamic instead, and he was humoring her this way, just saying. I feel like Twitter would react way differently, but I digress. Kunon also is engaged to a princess character, and her character is... And like I said, in the third section, we meet other characters at his school, and a lot of them are actually kind of interesting. So TDLR for characters, meet Potential Man, because there's potential, but we don't actually learn shit about anybody, like at all. Not much, at least. But on the positives, Not really any weeks in this series where I was like, give me the next week's episode already, except for when the princess came onto the screen. Nah, shit was pretty fun once a week. Something I could look forward to, a very consistent, like, I'm gonna have fun today sort of thing. Because this aired on Saturdays, which was already a super fun week winter season, because there was a bazillion things I was watching. And this is just another one. Or was it Sunday? Was Kunon Sunday? No, Kunon Saturday. Sometimes I would have to watch it Sunday because of the vast amount of things that were out. If I'm wrong, then I guess I'll fact check myself here. But yeah, the season is paced well. The story flows good. I'm sure some cutting of material was done to achieve that, but I don't know. Light novel readers, let me know. Not manga readers, y'all are LARPers. Jokes again, chill. It's really good at hitting that sweet spot between chill show each week and a show that has a bigger goal. Its stakes aren't suffocating, at least the stakes for the world at large, but they do make themselves present. Like, we get small little teasers that, like, there's some stuff going on, or the stuff that could be going on. So depending on where the rest of the series goes, that's definitely going to influence how I think of this series. Because right now, like I said, it's potential, man, so I'm not going to be too harsh on it, because of course I don't have the context of later. Sometimes, yes, okay, an earlier thing should stand out on its own, but if something later gives it context that makes it better when you go back to it and just makes it all the more entertaining, then that's another thing, you know? So I don't know if this will be one of those series, because I just don't know if it will be, but who knows? It could get better or worse from here. Moving on to another plus for Kunon is that I also think he looks dope. His design language is pretty nice. He's got like a proper mage fit. He's got the what I like to call the Gojo, although I guess it's more like the Kakashi, or just, I mean, they're not the first characters to cover their eyes ever, but easy comparisons, I guess. But Kunon's is pretty cool. It's not just like a wrap, you know, or like a little thing. Like, it's a proper fitted, cool thing. And he's actually blind, so it kind of makes sense. It's not as much aura farming as it is aura farming, but with a disability. I don't know. I can't yap without my scripter. I just say random shit. But look at him. He looks cool. He does look cool. He's got a staff. None of the other designs stand out at all compared to any other anime ever, in my opinion. Like, I think that the other characters who I enjoy visually would be, first, the original professor for her blue hair. Once again, kind of nice, like, anime girl look, I guess. And then later on, one of the girls in his class is she's got white hair, and like that white design, I moved by it ever so slightly, because it also matches her demeanor within the series. Same with Zonli, who's his second teacher. Like I said, looks kind of cool, but nothing unordinary either. In the realm of fantasy clothing, it's nothing unusual. It's nothing you wouldn't see in any other fucking anime ever. But the ones that I do like is because the clothes reflect the wearer and their characters well, as opposed to just being there for the sake of looking cool or crazy or whatever. Remember, guys, wear the clothes. Don't let the clothes wear you. There's some Eddie Hates Anime knowledge for today. All right, this is the section that I kind of wanted to talk about that you might want to skip later for. If not, then don't. It's kind of interesting, and it's a very specific moment, but just skip to the time on the screen if you don't want to see it. All right, now that it's just everyone here. I believe it's the last episode. It's been a couple weeks since I finished Kunon, so forgive me if I'm wrong here, but it unironically has a decent trans commentary moment. Let me explain. I'm not the right person to ask about this, but I thought it was kind of cool and funny in like a good faith way, handling such a topic without reducing the character we're going to talk about to being mistaken for a femboy or something that isn't explicitly female identifying, unless you're like watching. Obviously, the subs call them he and stuff, but that's also kind of like the English language being weird. There's not really wiggle room here. So let me back up a bit. There's a character, I forgot her name to be honest, but they introduce her, and we all know Kunon is in this mode of, I love women. And I'm going to talk about this, but when he gets to the school, it's times a bazillion. Like, he low-key goes from, like, he'll talk to men and love women to he'll love women and just flat out ignore men. So at the school, you know, he's not really talking to any of the dudes, and he's just going crazy on the women times 1,000. And there's one girl that he kind of just flat out ignores, and it keeps throwing her off a bit. But then eventually he finds out that, and I don't know if this is because like he's blind or something, so maybe he has like some special way of sensing the I don't know, the internal factors or whatever, like the more sciencey reasons for why he'd mistake them for what they're not presenting as. But he ignores the trans one, not knowing what she presents as, I guess is how to best put it. But the moment he finds out, and they use the term heart of a maiden, which is probably just the way they explain it in that universe, because obviously it's not a modern day setting like ours, it's a fantasy world, so I don't even know if they have the term trans in it. But the moment he finds out about that, he immediately regrets his behavior and atones for it, and then starts treating her like a woman. So it's like, honestly, compared to like a lot of anime, like I said, that will do the femboy thing or the whatever, which is fine if they are a femboy, but there is a difference between femboy and trans. We all know this. Or like I said, the wiggle room thing where it's like, you know, because I feel like some stories don't want to lose the part of the audience that would be bigoted towards that sort of thing. So they just kind of like, maybe. We don't fully, like, the way they do it here just doesn't tack any crude stereotypes to go along with it. I thought it was pretty well done. Surprising thing that I didn't think was going to come up in this series. And it gave Kunon a bit of development because while he is a Riz Lord, like I said, the last few episodes, he turned the dial up hella, almost to the point of devolving his character. I only say almost because if it was just for this arc, then it's kind of justified, because then it makes sense. But if he's this way moving forward still, where he's just like, really just mean to men low-key, I don't know. It would be kind of annoying, and not in like a poor men sort of way, like fucking r/nice guys, but I like the balance we had before. Majority of the series, he obviously loves his flirtatious endeavors, but still shows interest in magic regardless of who it was that he was learning from. He wouldn't mind learning from a dude or even helping dudes with their magic. But the version of Kunon in the last few episodes just feels like he'd disown his own master because he's a guy. Obviously exaggerating a bit, but it did feel odd. I get it in the context of that arc as an extended gag, and if they don't tone it down a little or just make it like low-key less annoying, because like I said, I liked it for most of the series, but now it's kind of getting to that point. I fear I might stop liking Kunon as much as I did before. But for now, benefit of the doubt, bro got new eyes and was feeling himself. Shit happens. Maybe bro's matured since, I don't know. Plus, maybe they overdid the whole hating men thing and loving women too much to show his character development after learning one of them clearly presents female and reflecting upon it. I don't really know. I'm just trying to justify it somehow because it's really the last few episodes where Kunon kind of irks me. And that is a shame because I like him otherwise, but I digress. Back to the main review stuff, so welcome back my lovely time-skipping friends. Your enjoyability of this anime will probably boil down to what you hope to get out of it, because things like the blind plot aren't as big of a hindrance as it's made to be in the beginning, also kind of turning into more of a gag than I thought it would be with its solution. So, you know, if you're going in there for like super serious disability rep, I mean, it's there, and yeah, a lot of anime don't have that, so it's something. I guess the more interesting part is how he describes living with the disability, because he still had it for a lot of his life, but it's like the what comes after that's just really convenient, and whatever, it's fine. I'm not blind, so I can't really speak on the relatability part there. And the anime is just inherently written so uniquely for better or worse. It prioritizes different things than other authors would, I feel. So just don't take yourself too seriously if you watch this, and all should be fine. But also just don't watch it if you don't like it. Oh, before we go, music. Opening feels, I want to say older, but maybe I just keep conflating older vibes with just fantasy in general. It has like you would hear this in any old fantasy anime. I don't know. Let me know what you think about its opening's vibes in particular. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't really remember the ending too much. Like, I remember some of the visuals and like the music, but I don't remember it being bad. I just didn't. It wasn't like a must play. That's kind of how I describe the show overall, to be honest. Like, you know, it's cool. It wasn't bad, you know, but it's not must watch. But we'll end the vid on that note. I've already been here for a while yapping about stuff that wasn't even in the review. But what did you think? Did you love Kunon the Sorcerer Conceit? Did you hate it? Would Kunon steal your girl? Be honest. It's been your boy, Eddie Hates Anime, and I'm out. Peace!